India is running fast on the path of development. But still, when a woman's husband dies, her fate can take a cruel turn. There is a large number of elderly widows who are shunned by their families and living in ancient holy places like Varanasi, Haridwar, or Vrindavan in very vulnerable conditions. Many of them are as old as the country itself.
It is unfortunate that even today, where we think that the world is educated, there is a deep-rooted ignorance where the widows are concerned. People still consider them to be untouchables. They still will go home and take a shower when they see a widow crossing their path.
In conservative religious families, widows are shunned because they're seen as bad luck. Superstitious relatives even blame them for their husband's death.
The statistics say there are 22 million widows in this country. And out of the 22 million widows, the gender discrimination in this country is so high that most of the widows are forced to live a life of loneliness and desperation. And some women, especially those in West Bengal and other places, migrate to places like Vrindavan, and some others go to Varanasi, some go to Haridwar, etc. Because the Indian belief is that if you die in one of these places, then you go to heaven, and rather than suffering from hell on earth.
This whole concept of Vrindavan being the hub for widows started out from West Bengal.
500 years ago, it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who came from Bengal to Vrindavan and rediscovered Vrindavan. Naturally with him, there were a lot of his followers, his devotees who came from Bengal also. So that is how the prominence of Vrindavan in the hearts of people from Bengal has existed. And we all know how the system has been in India in the olden days, where the widows would really have no life once their husbands passed away.
She has to be eating very simple food. She has to wear uncut cloth. She has to shave her head, and she basically has to live in service of God. And when families would find it hard to support such a person, they would take that person and leave them in Kashi or in Vrindavan.
Nearly 15,000 widows call Vrindavan home, and the numbers continue to soar every year.
लड़का भी निकाल देते हैं घर से, लड़ाई करते हैं, मारा पेटा करते हैं, कोई देखता नहीं। पंचायत भी जाए तो पंचायत भी देखता नहीं, फिर वो कहाँ जाएगी, दिशहारा हो जाते, कहाँ जाएगी, कहाँ रहेगी, फिर वो किसी से सुनते हैं, फिर वृंदावन चली आते हैं।
The status of widows, Indian widows, is especially poorer Indian widows or widows who do not have access to property or incomes, is quite pathetic. Physically, they are not in very good shape is what we saw. Economically, of course, they have absolutely nothing to fall back on, and they are only there because they don't have any other choice.
Societal injustice and abuse is rampant against this class of women, and it's going on since ages.
The socio-economic status of women, her rights, have been compromised. The minute her husband died, it was snatched from her. I mean, I'm using the word snatch because it was taken away from her when she was disinherited from her house, from the place where she lived, from her family, from her culture, from everything.
Even today, that discrimination still continues. They are actually living hell on earth.
Yeah, beta. Oh, kichu dena, kichu dena. Na taka, na kapo, na pete bhat, kichu dena.
The widow is seen as a liability with no social standing, an unwanted mouth to feed.
এই সমাজে কেউ বিধবাদের দেখে না, সব মনে করে যে একটা মানে আমাদের ঘাড়ের উপরে পড়ে গেল, বোঝা হয়।
She had to fight for 250 grams of food, which could break any human being's heart.
10 जो बच्चे हैं ना, एक माँ पाल सकती है, लेकिन 10 बच्चे एक माँ को नहीं पाल सकते। अब जमाना ऐसा आ गया, इसीलिए हम चुपचाप करके छोड़ दिया और बस अपनी किस्मत और अपना भाग लेकर बिहारी जी के चरणों में आ गए।
जितना मेरा पास था सब ले लिया और शराब का झूठ में इसी धक्का मारा, मार पीट गाली जूता। हाँ, बोला कि नहीं आज अभी से शाम तक नहीं जाएगी तो मैं जहर खा जाऊंगी। तो बोलिए माँ अपनी बेटा को मरते देख सकता है?
In exchange for singing bhajan for 7 to 8 hours in bhajan ashrams, the women are given a cup of rice and a pittance of money, which they try to supplement by begging on the streets. They remain unaware of their legal rights, and happily so, as they do not want to return to their abusive homes at any cost.
আসলাম কয়েক বছর, ছেলে তো 30-35 বছর হয়েছে আর আছে, প্রায় 25-26 বছর হয়েছে আর আরম্ভ করে দিছি। 6-7 বছর কষ্ট করছি রাধারানীরে ডাকতে ডাকতে। রাধারানী আমার কথা শুনছি। আমি একবার দর্শনে আসলাম, স্বামী মারা গেল, দর্শনে আসি আর আমি গেছি না। আমি দর্শনে আসি রইলাম, দেখি যে এখানে কোনো মতে বিক্রি বৃদ্ধি করি আর খাওয়ান যায়, ভজন আশ্রম করি খাওয়ান যায়। এখন ভজন আশ্রম করি, ভজন আশ্রম করে খাওয়া যায়, ছেলের কাছে যাওয়ার কোনো দরকার হয় না।
Children are beating up their mothers and lacerating them, and I mean it's unimaginable, unthinkable. And yet the mothers do not want to file a case against their children, or do not want to claim their property, or do not want to, raise a voice against it.
When you look at these women, each of them has a story that defines her, and it's almost always a sad story. Almost always it will be a story about how she has been discarded from her family.
हमको देखने नहीं चाहता है, घर में जाता है तो बहुत कुछ बोल देता है, बोलता है जे माँ यदि यहाँ पर रहेगा तो हम नहीं रहेगा, हम भाड़ा घर में चल जाएगा। दोनों दामाद का हमारा नौकरी है, सरकारी नौकरी है, एक जन सेंट्रल में है, एक जन बंगाल में है। सब अच्छा है, गाड़ी है, सब कुछ है बाबा। वो लोग का अपना घर है, इसका घर है, कोई दुख नहीं है बाबा। हम जब ऐसा समझ गया जे यहाँ पर हमारा कोई रखेगा नहीं, तब हम यहाँ पर चला आया।
A staunch patriarchal system ensures that even after 67 years of independence, these widow mothers have to beg on the streets.
Patriarchy deeply impacts because the fact that when a man dies, the fact the woman's fate, the wife's fate is so deeply interlinked with the man. The fact that she has no identity of her own, as if her life, the rest of her life is completely meaningless, that she has to lead a certain life by a certain dicta almost, and is almost shunned away from home. It's bizarre because she hasn't died, she's still living, and you're killing her while she's alive.
वो धारा खाना पीना ना सब केड़े लिया, सब ओरा सब खत्म करे दीचे, लिए लीचे, मुकाम फुकाम भेंगे दीचे पाठीगत ব্যাপারে। পাঠি কাছে গেলাম, ও প্রধানের কাছে, প্রধান বলছে তোমারই এখানে চলবে না। থানাকে গেলাম, বলছে বৃন্দাবনে চলে যাও।
And this is not just about the patriarchal system and women's rights, but it's very serious indication about status of elderly in India.
Majority of the Indian population, aging population, are without in social security, social protection. Vrindavan widows should be understood as an elderly population, a socially abandoned population.
कोई नहीं है दुनिया में, पोती पोते सब पड़ गए, कौन आएगा हमारे पास में? कोई नहीं आएगा। अब पीछे मुड़ के नहीं देखना हमको, माँ मर गई तब नहीं देखना।
बहू ने बोला क्यों आते हैं आप, आपका कोई है यहाँ? सब मर गया।
In a land where the female power is worshipped in the form of goddesses, there is apparently no room for these widow mothers. These women are living with memories, pain, aloofness, and the eventuality of death for company.
মরিলেও এখানে, বাঁচিলেও এখানে, থাকিলেও এখানে, যাই করে রাতারানী।
काफ़ी केस देखे हैं हमने कि माताएं एक्सपायर हो जाती हैं, हम इनके घर वालों को सूचना देते हैं, उस समय भी इनके बच्चे नहीं आते हैं।
When the founders of Maitri, Winnie Singh, General Bhupinder Singh, and Chairman Ulf came across sobbing and worried lives of these widow mothers in Vrindavan, they felt their pain deeply.
When we went to Vrindavan, the sight that came in front of me, it was something which made me cry. It was something that I felt no woman ever had to go through.
I saw to my horror a great number of elderly women walking around Bindravan, some of them almost naked, some of them that could have been my mother, could have been my grandmother, and seemed to have no one to take care of them. And I told Bhupinder, who was with me then, we have to do something. And that's how that project started.
At that point, we felt that it was really important to start with a nutrition program to lift their nutrition status, and that we felt would have a very clear and direct impact on their health. We wanted to provide a cooked meal to these widows that was wholesome and balanced. This is the reason we actually approached Akshay Patra, and we were able to set up a long-term partnership with them.
Actually, Akshay Patra was feeding the children of the government schools in Vrindavan in Mathura district, just like we have been doing in other parts of the country also. But it so happened one day that General Bhupinder and Vinny Singh ji came from Maitri Foundation one day. They met me and they said they also wanted to feed the widows of Vrindavan. So we naturally felt that just like the children of Braj have a right to be fed, the widows of Vrindavan also had a right to be fed, and that was the beginning of the partnership.
Since 2010, Maitri started promoting dignity and support for abandoned elderly widows in Vrindavan. They were trying to do more, but restricted with limited resources. But if your intentions are right, then you get the right support at the right time.
The challenges that we had in raising funds for the elderly and the abandoned widow mothers, Amir Khan's show happened at just that point of time, and it brought a focus to the widow mothers living in Vrindavan, and also it gave some kind of recognition to the work that we were doing.
मैत्री इंडिया एक ऐसी संस्था है जो बुजुर्गों की जिंदगी को बेहतर बनाने के लिए काम करती है, और ये वही संस्था है जिसके साथ विनी जी भी जुड़ी हुई हैं। विनी जी, हमारी गुजारिश है कि हमारी तरफ से ये भेंट आप कबूल कीजिए।
Through the program of Satyamev Jayate, we raised funds from Reliance Foundation and individual donors. That was sufficient enough for us to actually think about setting up an old age home.
We today have been able to create a home where 200 widow mothers can live there with dignity, with respect. They have a home which they had lost.
मैत्री आश्रम बहुत अच्छा है, लाखों से अच्छा है, घर से अच्छा है। हम लोग का कोई परेशानी नहीं है, दवाई मिलता है, खाना मिलता है, काबरा लाता, सब कुछ मिलता है। और जो कोई तबीयत खराब होती है फौरन गाड़ी मंगाते हैं डॉक्टर की, वो इलाज करता है। और नहीं ठीक होते तो कारे बाबू ले जाते हैं।
ভালো ব্যবহার, ভালোবাসেন, নিজের সন্তানের মতো, নিজের মায়ের মতো দেখেন।
এই আশ্রমে আমার খুব বড়িয়া আছি, শান্তিতে, কোনো কষ্ট নাই।
Maitri has committed to providing nutrition, healthcare, and access to citizenship rights. The widows under Maitri's care are provided with basic healthcare twice a week and facilitated specialized medical checks periodically.
अगर किसी माताजी का स्वास्थ्य खराब हो जाता है तो तुरंत हम जैसे कुछ छोटा मोटा नॉर्मल ट्रीटमेंट तो अपने पास में रखते हैं, दे देते हैं। अगर ज़्यादा तबीयत खराब होने पर हॉस्पिटल ले जाते हैं।
One very important thing is that if a woman has passed away, we will ensure that we will give her a proper funeral.
Organizations like Maitri are doing their bit, but there is a strong need to check government policies and schemes for these widow mothers.
There is no policy around healthcare or around financial rights, especially for the elderly and very importantly for elderly women in our country.
Even in the new policy, the pension for older people is still not growing.
What do you say when a woman is given rupees 300 as pension for 1 month?
Providing all these basic requirements for living to these widow mothers are not very costly. But sometimes it's hard to manage resources because our society became a little insensitive to these issues.
It takes very little to give the identity and the social services to one of these women. About $250, we can guarantee that lady is dressed, she gets shelter over her head, she gets a cooked meal, and she gets social and medical care every day. We even take care of her when she dies. That's all it takes.
So one of our challenges is making sure that we pull those resources together. Resources in terms of human resources, in terms of financial resources, that will make the old age home run as we have envisioned it, to ensure that we take care of the women till they pass away.
These widow mothers who got shelter in Maitri home are living there with dignity, trying to be with the flow of life. Yes, sometimes rituals and their religious understanding give them a chance to celebrate life.
मैत्री वृंदावन राधाकुंड में 4 वर्ष से काम कर रही है। हम भी 4 साल से हैं उन लोगों के साथ। सेवा का काम है, हम लोग कर रहे हैं, हमें भी अच्छा लगता है इन लोगों के साथ रहना।
बहुत ही अच्छा मन लगता है सेवा में, तो ऐसा मन लगता है कि ज़िंदगी भर इनके साथ में सेवा करते रहें अपन।
Team Maitri is not only dedicated to ensure dignity and respect in the lives of these elderly mothers, but also involved in creating a much larger platform and systems to deal with elderly issues.
One of our efforts is to establish a national center for aging. So this center will look at the issue of facilitate a policy dialogue on the area of aged policies, aged related services, and also what are the national regulatory requirements for aged care.
We want to take this old age home as a foundation for building understanding and advocacy on what elderly women's concerns are.
Being a part of change, Maitri is willing to connect and work with other like-minded organizations, agencies, and networks.
We invite you to join hands with Maitri and make a difference in the lives of the elderly widow mothers.
Samyak sambuddhebhyo namorya alokeyande shvaraya bodhisattvaya mahasattvaya mahakarunikaya taidhyayandham dara dara dhire dhire It